let's start with Caleb Williams. We learned that the five-star quarterback is going to announce on the 4th of July. So any reason to believe that LSU might be able to pull an upset here?
No.
Okay.
I guess the small reason to believe would be they had themselves in it, right? I mean, throughout the whole process, all the way until now, when he's down to Oklahoma and Maryland, who he's from Washington D.C., and then LSU, and their season and the visits he had from summer camp last year to the A&M game, the end of this past season, that kept them in it. And I think that what they were really hoping for was that they would win it on the spring visits. And that's kind of how the Williams camp had lined things up, was that they had, imagine it, Matt, I mean, 20-something teams really saying, look, you're our guy. They made tons of visits over the past couple of years, but they said he'll focus on a few schools in the spring. That turned out to be LSU, Maryland, and Oklahoma. He's going to visit them for an extended amount of time. We're going to think about it, and then we're going to make our decision in the summer. And he went along with the plan. Oklahoma was up first. They got their visit in. That next, week? I mean, Monday, Tuesday, whenever it was, I guess it was the end of the week, things shut down. And that was mid-March. And now he didn't get to visit LSU, didn't get to visit Maryland. And ever since then, Oklahoma's been trending. And now with a decision date set for a little less than a month from now, I don't think anybody believes it will be anything but the Sooners. And for LSU, I think they've sensed that was coming, and they've got their quarterback committed in four-star Garrett Nussmeier.
So Nussmeier is committed. Williams likely to go to Oklahoma, as you mentioned. Shea, I'm curious, though, if LSU being in the final three for the number one quarterback in the country, if this is just a moment in time, or if you actually think this is signaling a bit of a sea change for LSU as it relates to the quarterback spot.
Well, I think you can argue that there'll be a bit of a sea change for LSU in terms of moving themselves into that group of team that often is listed with top guys. And we can remember when they had Trevor Lawrence to campus and Justin Fields to campus, and they had offered and were in it, but were never here at the final table, really battling. And had COVID not shut everything down, perhaps they do land a guy like Caleb Williams. But I think the default answer, as simply as I can put it, and realistically as I can put it, Matt, would be that next year Walker Howard is already a top 100 quarterback and a top 5 pro-style quarterback in the country, and he hasn't even started yet. So once he does start putting up numbers, he's going to move up in the rankings. That's a guy that could end up at LSU, and certainly will have the name, LSU in it until the very end. And then you get into someone we're going to talk about, Eli Holstein, in the 2023 class. These guys are just wrapping their freshman year up. And Arch Manning is also in that same class in Louisiana. Those two guys are going to be national quarterback recruits. So almost thanks to something that never happens, which is Louisiana having good quarterbacks consistently, or elite quarterbacks consistently, LSU can parlay this, not just national guys, but landing some local guys finally that can help them out at quarterback.
Shea Dixon's with us on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Okay, I want to stay on that point, because you talk to as many coaches at high school and college, and obviously recruits as well as anybody. You mentioned Louisiana is not known for producing great quarterback talent, but obviously this is happening here right now, where you mentioned Howard, who of course is the son of former LSU quarterback Jamie Howard. You mentioned Eli Holstein, Arch Manning. Is there a change? Is something happened, Shea, where there's a fundamental change to where this state is now producing elite quarterbacks?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look deeper into it. I know that they would have to prove my theory wrong, not mine, everybody's commonplace theory, that Louisiana is one of those schools, unlike a Texas or a California, where they often put the best athlete on the team at quarterback. Patrick Queen played quarterback in high school. Devin White was playing running back, but the point being getting the ball in the hands of the best players. So often these linebackers or whatever positions are playing quarterback in high school. And I think if you do that, it definitely helps you win. But look up and down LSU's roster, their receivers, John Trey Kirkland and those guys, they were high school quarterbacks. That's just how it went. And when you do that approach, you're not banking on kids who have been, riding development at quarterback since 8th grade. You're trying to win now against defenses that are really athletic. So I think that played a large part into it. But if we are shifting towards more of these kids kind of training to become quarterbacks at a young age and then actually getting a chance to start Arch is a freshman, a guy like Eli as a sophomore at Zachary, and get 3 years under your belt playing, then yeah, we'll move more towards that. But so far, it's just always been put your best athlete at quarterback, and he's probably going to end up playing a different position in college, and doesn't have anything to do with, or it has everything to do with his arm, and it's because he wasn't a quarterback.
It's going to be fascinating to see, Shea, if this does become a trend, because if Louisiana starts consistently producing elite quarterbacks like Howard and Holstein, et cetera, look out, because now there's nothing that stops LSU. So that is going to be a very interesting storyline to watch in the next half decade plus. Tell me, if you would, about Holstein. We were just looking at some of his highlights from his freshman season. We know he'll be the starter this year at Zachary as a sophomore for the first time, but what do we know about him?
Well, yeah, obviously being at Zachary last year was the final year for kind of their run on quarterback with Keelan Brown, who signed with Memphis and is won a state title with Zachary, and now they're turning it over to Eli, who, like I said, he's going to have 3 years of high school football as a starter under his belt. That's plenty enough. And he's got a dad who, Scott Holstein, was a team captain on LSU's football team as a punter in the early 90s. His brother is obviously Caleb Holstein, who just signed with La Tech. He had played at STM, and they had won a state title this past year in a really dominant showing. So he's got the bloodlines. I mean, football's been in his family. His mom went to LSU, so LSU's also been in his, kind of life his entire time growing up through football, and being in Zachary makes him local. So I like LSU's move to go ahead and offer him before it started any games, because they do their research well enough, whether it's Orgeron or Steve Insminger or a guy like Russ Calloway, who's the lead analyst on the staff and handles quarterback recruiting and even quarterbacks on the team. But they felt good enough about Eli to go ahead and get in now. And I think the play is, Matt, and we don't even have to go into the Arch Manning discussion, because everyone will just say, well, I'm going to be, I'll be happy about Arch Manning going to LSU the day he signs with LSU, or the day he actually takes a snap. It's unbelievable that they would get a Manning to come to LSU. But if you've got Arch Manning and Eli Holstein leaving their freshman seasons, Arch Manning's really not – he has no reported offers. They haven't really let his recruitment take off by design. They wanted him to just get things under his belt. Now Eli Holstein's got his first offer. The floodgates are going to open for these guys, and I think LSU made a smart play. Do it now. Make sure that you can come away with one of these guys, because if you can go from Garrett Nussmeier in the class you just had into a guy like Walker Howard, and then into getting Eli Holstein or Arch Manning, it lines up with what you said, Matt, is that's great news for the future of the LSU program, because now you've got a run on really legitimate quarterbacks.
He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon, go 24/7. Is there any reason to believe that LSU could get a Manning on campus?
Like for a visit?
in a uniform for a game. But that's probably well enough said.
I think we'll see. Again, it's Cooper's son, and they've not really let him have any sort of media. Like he's got no offers. I'm curious to see when they let him have the offers, but I'll say this. People have said Ole Miss, obviously, Tennessee, obviously, and then Cutcliffe's at Duke. I don't know if that matters at all, but I think LSU will be in the mix.
Okay.
And everyone gets excited, because remember, Matt, they did that. It wasn't on Manning's thing. It might have been a 30 for 30. But it was Arch was the running around the yard when they said, who's your favorite team? He said LSU. So maybe he's changed his mind in 10 years, but we'll see.
All right, Shea. What about Ross Dellinger's brother, Garrett Dellinger? What's the story there?
Yeah, he has no scoop on that either. I'm hitting him up nonstop, and he's got nothing.
Give me the back. Yeah, give us the backstory there.
Well, this is a kid in Michigan, and look, we're talking right now. It seems that Anthony Bradford came down here, redshirted, got acclimated, and now he's about to start, or presumably might start, be the lead guy at right guard. And they went right back up to Michigan and recruited Garrett Dellinger, who is a top 100 player, a top 15 offensive tackle, and he's a guy that can play left tackle for you, no doubt. Does it right now. So I think that's going to be the next domino. He's going to commit to a school on June 24th. He's already shot his recruiting video. Everything's done. All of the crystal ball picks on 24/7 Sports, including mine, are on LSU. But I'd expect that to be the first domino that drops for James Craig here. And they're on a bunch of offensive tackles, and I know that their goal, Matt, would be to go heavier on edge protectors than inside guys because they just feel that's the need right now. And there's also the reality that you can recruit a bunch of tackles and move guys inside who are athletic interior players. So I think that's the approach right now. And if they can go ahead and get that first O-line commit on board and in an elite offensive tackle like Dellinger, Ross's brother, it would be huge.
Has anyone actually asked Ross about this?
I think one time. I think I did ask him. I was like, have you seen this kid's name? He's like, they're not spelled the same. I was like, I can read it.
Yeah, it was like an I instead of an E, but it still works out really well.
Right.
All right. He's Shea Dixon on Twitter, @Shea Dixon. Y'all give him a follow. Go 24/7. If you need LSU recruiting news, that's the place to get it. Go 247.com. Shea, you're the best, man. Thanks so much.
No, you're the best. Thanks for having me on, Matt.